For everyone who's just joined us, kia ora, good afternoon, happy Matariki. Welcome to the Dockline Tramway. Dockline Tramway is owned by Panuku Development Auckland, an Auckland Council organisation, and brought to you by the team at MOTAT, the Museum of Transport and Technology based over in Western Springs. My name is Scott, and along with my colleague Damon, we'll be taking care of you today. The Dockline Tramway opened in August of 2011, just in time for the Rugby World Cup, and sadly it's going to close for good later this year. So please be sure to tell all of your friends and family to come and check it out while they still can. On our left just here is North Wharf, the only north-facing wharf on the Auckland waterfront. It consists of two flanking pavilion buildings surrounding an original wharf shed. The wharf shed was built in 1926, the same year as this tram, and is on our left just now. Originally it housed the wall for exporting, but now it houses the Wynyard Pavilion and Whitestone Cheese Bar. Ahead of us is Karanga Plaza. Karanga is the Te Reo Māori word for welcome. This is what welcomes people into the area. You can go through the plaza, over the double bascule bridge to Te Whero Island and the Maritime Museum, or continue along Key Street to the Ferry Building, Brita Mart, Ocean Bay, Queen Street and downtown Auckland. So stop number 1, Karanga Plaza and the Park Art Hotel. And this must be one of the first times Sarah I've come around this corner and there hasn't been someone illegally parked here. Just here is the Viaduct Basin, also known as Lighter Quay. Named from the 1940s concept of using lighters or small boats to help ferry goods from ship to shore. These little trams like we're in right now are often known as dinghies because of the way that when they're at speed they pitch and roll. As I go up into the next gear you may feel that. Is Victoria Park, one of Auckland's oldest sporting grounds that opened in 1905 is named for Queen Victoria, who died in 1901. Like many large sporting grounds in Auckland, including Auckland Domain, Cornwall Park, Albert Park and Western Springs, during the Second World War there was a visiting US military base, barracks based there. Number 2, Galt Street.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, but it's just me and Sam just walked out.
What was it?
This whole area is unusually flat, and that's because this whole area has been reclaimed from the harbour from the 1870s onwards, but particularly from the early 1900s through to the end of the 1930s. This area was reclaimed from the harbour in a series of waves. So if you find any flat land in this area, from Victoria Street all the way on our left to the waterfront on our right, and from the harbour bridge in front of us all the way behind us to Parnell and Mechanics Bay, if it's flat, it's been reclaimed. That means that buildings like the one we just passed on our left had to dig down over 30 metres to find solid ground to put their foundations in. Before that, this area was a fishing lagoon, and there was a Māori settlement just where the motorway on-ramp is now. This is stop number 3, Dalby Street. If you're wanting to go to the Festival of Play, this is the best stop to get off at.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is driving. Because I know how to wear a seatbelt. Let me
Wow, so many cars today.
So many cars.
Right now we're headed down Dawley Street. Up ahead and on our left is our tram shed. This is where our two trams go to sleep at night and get all of their servicing done. On the end wall there you can see a picture of the last day that the trams ran the streets of Auckland, which was the 29th of December 1956. For those of you who are quick at your maths, you'll know that's just over 65 and a half years ago. And what you can see here is trams coming in from their last ever day of service and immediately being stripped of any sellable parts by the technicians. They pulled off all of the copper, the wiring and the motors, until all that was left was the wooden chassis and the windows, and then those were sold off to pick up thatches and holiday homes in Auckland and along the Thames and Coromandel coast. We're just going to stop here for a second while we change drivers. Damon's going to take care of you while I go and have some lunch. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hiya, just jump on board. I'll do your tickets when we get to the next stop.
We can sit here. I'll sit here because we're going to park. You want to go on this side and then you can see out the window?
Two. Sounds good.
Now it's Luke Skywalker.
Well, good afternoon to those of you who just joined us, and welcome aboard Panuku Development Auckland Stockline Tram. I'll be taking over now for Scott while he has his lunch break. If you could just keep your hands and arms inside the tram, please. We have some pretty close clearances on the side. Wouldn't want anybody to get hurt. Thank you. So we're making our way now down into what was once a very industrial area for Auckland. Once owned by Mobil Oil and used for the storage of oil tanks. There were so many down here at one time, earned itself a bit of a nickname as the tank farm among Aucklanders. And you can see some remnants of that time just ahead of us here. Some of those large silver oil tanks still remain. Nowadays they're empty, but they have some large portholes on the side just to show you how much space they have inside those tanks. And could the family that just jumped on at the most recent stop come to the front, please? I'll do your tickets now.